With regard to meditation, can you give me some pointers on how to better quiet my mind?
The most important thing is to not beat up on yourself if you don't do that easily, because you've trained your mind to be responsive, and so now you're all of a sudden asking your mind not to be active, and you're also asking it to ignore law of attraction, and so both of those are sort of working against your intention right here. But when you say something soft to yourself, such as, I'm just wanting to slow things down a little bit and just give myself a little respite, and you realize that if you are able to quiet your mind, if you're able to stop the thought, you'll stop resistance and your vibration will rise, then you've got good reason to want to do that. But what we've noticed is you can't stop thinking about something that you've decided to stop thinking about, because now you're thinking about that thing you don't want to think about. And you've seen that happen. The more you decide you're not going to do something, the more you do it. It's just vibrational universal response. That's what law of attraction brings to you. So what we have offered, and we've noticed a lot of effectiveness with it, is if you can find something to think about. So that's why we say pick something. Sometimes you can listen to meditative music. Maybe that's good for you. Esther has done that. We created a meditation CD. And the reason that it was effective is because it has an odd breathing cadence to it. It's 5 breaths in and 3 long breaths out. And the time in and the time out are not the same, so you have to focus because it's weird. But to accomplish syncing with the music that's playing, you have to focus on something that you haven't focused on before, which means you got to pay attention to something here. And when you pay attention to it, in time you find yourself in cadence with the rhythm of the music. And then in the background, we are speaking to you. Depends on which one you've chosen. There are different subjects. We are speaking absolutely vibrationally accurate phrases to you. So if you manage to sync your breathing with the rhythm of the music, and it's subtle, it's not obvious, it's not in, out, in, it's not like that, it's subtle. You have to focus, but once you accomplish it, you can get into that quieted mind, and then the words that we are speaking to you, that you are hearing, can actually change your point of attraction on those subjects. However, equally effective in terms of quieting the mind is to listen. You hear it? And you're not thinking, I've heard better. Kind of hard to be dissatisfied about that, because it's kind of a nothing. It's also boring, and your mind doesn't want to be bored. And whatever you were thinking about when you sat down, you're probably still thinking about, unless you're remembering what your intention is. So you listen, close your eyes, it makes it easier. Listen. Your mind's going to wander, but focus again, and focus again. Just focus on that nothing sound. And before you know it, you're sort of drifting. Your thoughts have slowed way, 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 way down. And that's so good, because when your human thoughts slow down, you have more access to your inner being thoughts. But your inner being thoughts aren't thoughts. Your inner being is not offering you thoughts. Your inner being is offering you a vibration. That's why you're not getting messages from God right away. You're just feeling. Esther felt detachment. Her first meditation, she had been encouraged to just focus on her own breathing. And right away she felt sort of numb. A detachment. Within 5 minutes, she couldn't tell her nose from her foot. She just felt sort of detached. Well, that's what you're reaching for, detachment from anything that might be in your way. And it's easier to assume all of it's in your way than to try to sort it out. That's the point of meditation. Because if you try to sort it out, this isn't in my way, and this is, and this isn't in my way, and this is, and this isn't in my way, pretty soon your 20 minutes is over and you've just got piles of stuff around you, and you're back in that judgment mode of good and bad and good and bad, where just let it all go for a minute. Let it all go and let your vibration rise. Powerful process. Good?
Yes, thank you.
Good.
I don't want to admit meditating is hard for me, or has been. But if I get better at meditating, and then all these other things will be so easy.
Are you telling us that your mind is cluttered like your desktop? So when you sit to meditate, you can't clear your mind? It's just a belief you keep thinking, bogus belief.
You've been telling me that for years.
Maybe you don't want to quiet your mind, just like Esther doesn't want to give up the stuff in her boxes. Are you afraid to give up thoughts for fear they'll go away and never come back? Are you worried about releasing thoughts and getting into a non-thought place, and then you'll be so detached that you can't get back? Is there some rationale or irrationale to that?
I don't know, maybe letting go of thoughts is losing control.
But it isn't. That's what you think. It's complete gaining of control. So we're going to give you, specific to you, and if it feels like it fits you, then it's for you too. You're really going to like this. Instead of meditating, instead of calling it meditation, which is one of those big words that you've already decided you're not good at, or doesn't work for you, or that you don't want to do, or whatever, it doesn't matter. Instead of meditating, say to yourself, I'm going to sit for 15 or 20 minutes, not more, and reach for a place of satisfaction. Just a place of satisfaction. Esther has been following our encouragement to meditate. She knows that we encourage her to listen to a fan, listen to the air conditioning, just find something to focus upon. Actually not that rewarding, but it really works for her. And then yesterday, for the first time, she went with friends to a place where there was a guided meditation here in the city, in a crystal salt room. Might know about it if you're from around here. And at first Esther thought, this is really silly, because I know how to meditate. I get deep, and I get deep fast, and I like it, and I'm good. Abraham would give me an A for meditation. I'm really good at meditation. So what am I doing? Why am I going to do it with others? I know it's not more powerful with their others. I know I don't need to be guided because I've already got guidance. So she just went because it sounded fun to go with her friends, and they wanted to go, and they encouraged her, and she wanted to go, and she wanted to be with them, so she went. And they got there, and very nice people. There were 10 of them that were going to go into this room, and they had them all sit on a bench, which was kind of cute and made her feel like she was in grade school again. They encouraged them to take off their shoes, and she was always happy to do that. Gave them some little booties and talked a little bit about the room and the salt room that they were going to go into. And Esther didn't know. She had heard it was a cave. So she didn't know what to expect. It was in a building, so she wasn't sure what the cave was going to be. And when they walked inside, it was delightful because they had taken salt crystal that had been imported from somewhere, and it was all around on the walls. It had been installed like your fireplace brick might be. But the most delightful thing was that there was like a sand floor, but it was salt crystals. And so they were walking into it, and it was deep and really soft and really fun and really weird and not like anything she'd felt under her feet before. It was just delightful. And the room was fragrant with something that they were pumping in, and there was a fountain or two that was making lovely fountain sounds, and there was some very soft music playing, and it was an entirely different environment than Esther had ever sat in before, to meditate in before. And then the very nice woman who sort of gave them the rules of consider the other people, and Esther chose a nice comfortable chair, almost like a lawn chair to sit in. And she likes to sit up when she meditates, and did, and she liked feeling her toes in that stuff. And then Esther thought, this is just so satisfying. Then she just listened. Oh, satisfying sounds, satisfying people, satisfying stuff under my feet, satisfying. It was just so satisfying. It was so satisfying. Esther didn't care if she was going to meditate or not. She didn't care what was going to happen in there. Just being in there was satisfying. And then the woman began a guided meditation. It was so pleasant. Right on. Focus on nice things, where whatever she was inspired to say was just right. And Esther sat there and just liked everything about it so much. And then the woman said, I'm going to leave you. She left the room and just left everyone to it. And Esther just sat there in satisfaction with goosebumps on her body, just satisfied. And then she was observing. She was doing something different than she had ever done, because our teaching of meditation is to quiet your mind, and this instructor was talking to them about what to focus upon your breathing, or focus upon the air behind your lungs in the back of you. In other words, she was giving them some specific things to focus on, and Esther was softly following her encouragement and focusing on all those things. But what was happening in this guided meditation is that as Esther followed it, she was being guided to thoughts that had no resistance. They were very general thoughts. Very general thoughts. And on each chair they'd placed a chunk of this salt crystal, and Esther picked hers up and she thought, this is weird, because she doesn't believe in needing something to enhance. And then she thought, wait a minute, everything in this room is enhancing my satisfaction. Everything in here is enhancing my satisfaction. This might too. So she put that crystal in her hand and fell in love with it immediately. It just had this really nice feeling to it. Now, this was different. Esther wasn't really quieting her mind. But you know what? She didn't need to, because the whole point of quieting her mind is so she can find thoughts of satisfaction. And she was so surrounded by thoughts of satisfaction that she didn't have to quiet her mind. You see what we're getting at? There are so many ways that you can go about so many things. There's not just one way to do things. We teach quieting your mind. Esther likes to listen for a fan, because there's sound like that in every hotel room, and there's not a salt cave in every hotel room. If Esther becomes dependent upon the salt cave and the fountain and the smells and the guy, then she's going to meditate only when she comes here, you see. But satisfying. So go put your feet in some cool water somewhere. Find some place that's really comfortable. In other words, just decide that you're going to sit for 15 or 20 minutes and be satisfied, and don't call it meditation anymore. Doesn't matter how you get into alignment.